Hello student, in this video I'll explain you about the foundation of British growth in India. Particularly I'll explain you about how Britishers came as a merchant, as a businessman, and later on how they acquired the land in India. End of the dual government in Bengal. Here I'll explain you how the Bengal was being ruled by two masters, one by the Britishers and the other was the Nawab. So such kind of a government, when they rule over one particular land, we say as a dual government. The term has been applied, dual government. So Clive introduced dual government in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa in 1765 CE. You need to remember this year because Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, it came under the British policy and the government, and that is why it is called what, dual government. Bengal had now two masters, the Nawab and the Company. The evils of the dual government began to manifest itself. So evil, do you understand? Evil, that is what the all the negative things started coming out. The problems started arising because of the there were two rulers now, and the Bengal people were getting no benefit. The administration and economy collapsed in the 1772. The court of directors of the company appointed Warren Hastings as a governor of Bengal. So what happened later on? The company decided that the Warren Hastings has to be appointed for the Bengal, okay, and in 1773 he was made the Governor General of British Territory in India by Regulating Act. So here what happened, one change was there for under the Regulating Act. Warren Hastings was made the governor of Bengal. Then in 1772, Warren Hastings abolished the dual government. So what Clive started dual government in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, Warren Hastings had abolished. That means he finished off when in 1772. Bengal was brought under the direct and a complete control of the company. So, what is the new change here? After finishing this dual government rule, the Warren Hastings made had a complete control over the Bengal. That means no Nawab was needed now. The Nawab was deposed and pensioned. So deposed means Nawab was removed and he was given just pension, the money. The treasury was shifted to Calcutta from Murshidabad. So these are all the new things and the new points you need to remember here. So now treasury has shifted from Calcutta. From Murshidabad, Calcutta became the capital of Bengal and later of India. So, what happened? Calcutta, we know very nicely, it was a hub zone. It was very much center of attraction, and British made first attempt to control over there. So, it was turned into what, capital of Bengal. Then East India Company, which started initially as a trading company, had by 1773 acquired territorial control over Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, Madras and Bombay. So now two more places were added by 1773. Earlier Bengal, Bihar, Orissa was already in the hand with the British. So Madras and Bombay was also added to the trading company, that is your East India Company. The Nawab of Awadh and Carnatic were their dependents. However, after 1765, they had to face stiff opposition from Maratha. What happened here? But when they were acquiring and they were becoming strong, so Maratha were the people together. So in the southwestern part of India, that is your Maharashtra region, so these Marathas became very much, so they just opposed. They became a stiff obstruction for the British. They were not ready to surrender in front of British. So along with the Maratha, we will find that Hyder Ali, Tipu Sultan, Sultan of Mysore, and the Sikh also, they were together to go against the British. They also did not surrender in front of British. The conquest of Mysore. Here I'll explain you about how Hyder Ali rose to power while Britishers were busy with the Bengal. So the state of Mysore was ruled by Hyder Ali, a brilliant general and able administrator and a shrewd diplomat. So it is to be noticed that Hyder Ali was not only a shrewd diplomat but also a great warrior general. So while the Carnatic was plagued by war and Bengal was passing through a period of political turmoil, so Hyder Ali steadily rose to power in Mysore. So when the Britishers were busy with the Carnatic War and to acquire the power in Bengal, Hyder Ali got the benefit to rise up in the Mysore. He extended his kingdom up to Krishna River. So the land acquisition, or the, you can say, the expansion of the area up to Krishna River, it happened on during the time of Hyder Ali. Mysore under Hyder Ali became a source of danger to the rising British power in India. Between 1767 and 1799, the company faced four wars to destroy the power of Mysore. So during these years from 1767 to 1799, there were four times that the company had to fight the war against the Hyder Ali, that is against the Mysore, to destroy the Mysore power, which could become a great enemy for the Britishers. The First Anglo-Mysore War. Hyder Ali growing power aroused jealousies of the neighboring state, that is the Maratha, Nizam and the English. We all know that any one person, when they rise, so the other type of a people, the surrounding people, they feel the jealousy. So here also was the same case. Hyder Ali was becoming stronger, so the neighboring state, the Marathas and the Nizam, they got jealous, they had some kind of insecurity. So this was taken the benefit by the English made an alliance means a kind of a tie-up, the friendship. So Maratha and Nizam had to help the English, but what happened, Hyder Ali was a very much diplomat person. He won over the Nizam and the Maratha to his side. So he asked the Maratha and Nizam to help him, not to the English. So in 1769, Hyder Ali defeated the British in the First Anglo-Mysore War and besieged the Madras. So what happened here? The three together, Hyder Ali, Nizam and the Maratha, got one side and British to the other side, and Hyder Ali defeated Britishers very badly and took over the command in the Madras. The English were forced to sign the treaty, according to which they promised to come to Hyder Ali's help if he attacked by another power in future. So after this war, there was a treaty made under which the Britishers were made to understand that if any time, if there is a requirement of help to the Hyder Ali, when there is a any kind of a foreign attack, so British had to come and help. This treaty undoubtedly raised the prestige of Hyder Ali. So after signing this treaty, overall the Hyder Ali was praised and felt to be a victorious person over the areas. The Second Anglo-Mysore War. So according to the treaty of the First Anglo-Mysore War, the British had to come to help the Mysore, that is a Hyder Ali. But what happened later on, we will understand here in the Second Anglo-Mysore War. In 1771, the Marathas attacked Hyder Ali, but the English did not help him in spite of their promise. So what happened here? After some years, so this Hyder Ali was attacked by the Marathas. So according to the treaty, the British had to come, they should come and support, but they didn't. Hyder Ali waited for an opportunity to take revenge. So now Hyder Ali thought that when the time comes, he is also going to take the revenge from the Britishers. So when the English attacked and occupied the French port of Mahe, the only outlet for Mysore's trade with the Europe, Hyder Ali declared war on them. So Hyder Ali got a good opportunity when English was busy fighting with the French East India Company, and that time Hyder Ali declared war on the Britishers. So in the Second Anglo-Mysore War, the Nizam and the Marathas started as allies of Hyder Ali, but later on went over to the English side. So what happened earlier? We have seen how Nizam and Maratha also helped the Hyder Ali, but here also the things changed. So when there was a need Hyder Ali to help by the Marathas and the Nizam, so they went and to the opposite side, that is your English. They came and supported Britishers. Yet Hyder Ali swept through the Carnatic, captured Arcot and threatened Madras, but the British army under Sir Eyre Coote defeated Hyder Ali at Porto-Novo and saved Madras. What happened here? Hyder Ali got all alone, since now he was not got since he did not get any support from his ally, that is the Maratha and Nizam. So the British are the army general, that is your Sir Eyre Coote, defeated Hyder Ali. So in 1782, the war was carried on by his son Tipu Sultan. Later on, what happened after the death of the Hyder Ali, the war was carried by the Tipu Sultan, because he was also not happy with the death of his father. So the war came to an end by the Treaty of Mangalore in 1784. The prisoners of war and conquered territories were mutually returned. So somehow under the treaty, so it was after about a peace treaty was declared, and the prisoner of war and the other conquered part was mutually returned. The Third Anglo-Mysore War. The Treaty of Mangalore had not resolved the conflict between Tipu and English, though under the Treaty of Mangalore, Tipu was returned his war prisoners and some conquered territory, but he was not happy with the case English. So, since both the English and Tipu Sultan were aiming at political supremacy over the Deccan, a renewal of hostility between the two was inevitable. So, both English East India Company and Tipu Sultan, both of them were trying to make more stronger, you can say, the strength over in the Deccan, that is the South India, and during this time more revenge with each other could be seen. The Third Anglo-Mysore War started when Tipu attacked Travancore, an ally of English and the only source of paper for the East India Company. The Nizam and the Maratha, who were jealous of Tipu growing paper, joined English. So here also we will see that the Nizam, who could have helped Tipu Sultan, got support. They supported the Britishers. Lord Cornwallis defeated Tipu and forced him to sign the Treaty of Seringapatam in 1792. So here Lord Cornwallis, who was representing the British East India Company, they forced Tipu Sultan to sign the treaty because they were much powerful over in front of Tipu Sultan against the Tipu Sultan. After the Third Anglo-Mysore War, there was a treaty signed between Tipu Sultan and the Britishers under the Seringapatam Treaty. So, under that, we need to understand what was agreed. So, first is what Tipu had to surrender half of his kingdom, which was divided among the English and their ally, that is the Maratha and Nizam. So, after the loss of the war battle, Tipu Sultan had to give half of his territory kingdom to whom? To the English, which has to be divided between the Marathas and the Nizam also among themselves, because the allies were there to help the Britishers. So Britishers divided this kind of a benefit with the Marathas and the Nizam. Second, Tipu also had to pay a huge war indemnity of 330 lakh of rupees. So apart from giving the land to the British, Tipu also had to give the amount, such a big amount of 330 lakh during that time. So beside this, Tipu Sultan had to hand over two of his sons to the English as a hostages. So Tipu Sultan was in a great loss. He had given his kingdom, he has given the money, and most you can say the loss that he had to face was he had to give his two sons the hostages under the Britishers. So this is what the complete control of Britishers over the Mysore could be seen here. The Third Anglo-Mysore War destroyed Tipu Sultan's dominant position in the south and firmly established English supremacy there. So this is how we can see that Tipu Sultan was destroyed completely by the British. This war also revealed that the Indian power were short-sighted enough to aid a foreign power against another Indian power for the sake of temporary gain. So with this experience, Britishers realized that with a small benefit to the Indian ruler, they can get maximum by making them fight among each other. So for a temporary gain, short gain, the Indian ruler were fighting with their own neighbors, and because of this there was a loss and the Britishers got the benefit. Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. A man like Tipu could not forget the humiliation of his defeat in the Third Anglo-Mysore War. So we can understand the position of Tipu Sultan. He had to give the money, and overall he had to give two of his sons under the Britishers, complete control. So he began preparation for the trial of strength with the English. So now he was making his last attempt to fight against the Britishers. He began to add the fortification of his capital, improve his cavalry, and discipline his infantry. So he tried his best for the last time to make the fort, to make a wall site, so that for the protection, and to increase his army quality by discipline, by giving more training and other thing. He also tried to enlist the support of the French to oust the British from the south. So he also tried to get the friendship from the French East India Company, because he knew that the French and the British were enemy. So what happened next? Lord Wellesley was determined to prevent French re-entry into India. But when the Britishers felt that the Tipu is trying to get help from the France, so the Lord Wellesley did not want at any cost that the French would come and enter the Indian fight. He asked Tipu Sultan to enter into the subsidiary alliance, accepting British sovereignty. So what he asked, he said Tipu Sultan to accept the subsidiary alliance. And what is the subsidiary alliance? To accept the British supremacy. On Tipu's spirited refusal, the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War started in 1799 CE. The Nizam joined the English. So when Tipu Sultan refused to accept the subsidiary alliance, the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War happened in 1799, and in this kind of a war, Nizam supported the English. Tipu died fighting. So, what is the event? What is the result here? During this war, Tipu died. Half of his kingdom was annexed and divided between English and the Nizam. So, here, whatever was left with the Tipu, that was also annexed and divided within the Nizam and the English. The other half was given to a child of the old Hindu royal family, which had been overthrown by Hyder Ali. The other half, which was left, to whom Hyder Ali has removed, the Hyder Ali, the father of Tipu Sultan, he also dominated, he also came to the power by removing somebody, the Hindu ruler. So the descendant, the generation, the children generation of the Hindu ruler, so that descendant was put on the throne by the Britishers as a puppet. Tipu Sultan's family was exiled to Vellore. The new ruler of Mysore became subordinate ally of the British. So British appointed the descendant of the other royal Hindu royal family, and that became the subordinate. All time you can say the puppet for the British. The British supremacy over southern India was established. This is how the British got control over the Mysore, and they tried to make a complete supremacy in the South India. It had taken the English 32 years to subjugate Mysore. The threat of French revival in the Deccan was permanently eliminated. The company's territory now extended from Malabar to the Coromandel coast. So this is what the result was. We can see that it took 32 years, the fight to acquire the land in the Mysore. Second, the benefit that the British got, that the French was completely out from the market. No risk of the French were there against the British, and the company territory now extended from Malabar to Coromandel. Thank you.